What if I told you that the difference between the people who achieve greatness and the people who stay stuck is not talent, luck, or opportunity? It is one thing, the level of obsession they have with becoming better every single day. Most people want success, but they only want it when it's convenient. They want the rewards, but they don't want the discipline. They want the dream, but they don't want the sacrifice. And that's why their goals remain dreams instead of becoming reality. The people who change the world think differently. They wake up with a burning desire. They don't wait for motivation. They don't depend on perfect conditions. They build a mindset where failure is not the end, obstacles are not stop signs, and success is not a wish, it's a commitment. Because when you become obsessed with growth, when you become obsessed with improvement, when you become obsessed with becoming the strongest version of yourself, something powerful happens. You stop asking, can I do it? You start asking, what must I do to make it happen? Today, you are going to discover how to create that unstoppable mindset, the mindset that turns ordinary people into extraordinary achievers, the mindset that refuses to quit, the mindset that transforms your vision into your reality. Because success doesn't belong to the person who wants it the most for a moment. It belongs to the person who is willing to chase it every single day. First thing you must understand is that success does not begin when you get the result. Success begins the moment you make a decision, a real decision. Not a wish, not a hope, not a temporary emotion you feel after watching a powerful video or hearing a motivational message. A true decision is when you tell yourself, this is who I am now, and there is no going back. Most people never reach their potential because they keep negotiating with themselves. They say, I will work hard when I have more time. I will start when things become easier. I will take action when I feel ready. But the truth is, the perfect moment never arrives. The conditions will never be perfect. There will always be challenges, distractions, fear, and uncertainty standing in your way. The difference between ordinary results and extraordinary results is the standard you set for yourself. When you decide that success is a must, your entire identity begins to change. You no longer see your goals as something you are trying to achieve someday. You see them as something that requires your commitment today. Your actions change. Your focus changes. Your priorities change. Think about the things in your life that you consider non-negotiable. You don't question whether you should breathe. You don't wake up and say, maybe today I will breathe, maybe I won't. You don't debate whether you should take care of yourself when something is truly important. You simply do it. That is the level of certainty you must create with your goals. The people who achieve greatness are not always the smartest people in the room. They are not always the most talented. They are not always the ones with the most resources. But they are the ones who made a powerful decision and refused to break that promise for themselves. You have to stop treating your dreams like a hobby. A dream that you only work on when you have extra energy will always remain a dream. The moment you decide that your growth, your purpose, and your future matter more than your excuses, you unlock a different version of yourself. Because when you raise your standards, you raise your life. If you expect yourself to be average, you will find reasons to stay comfortable. You will accept delays. You will accept excuses. You will convince yourself that good enough is enough. But if you decide that you are capable of more, you begin to look for ways to improve. You begin to ask better questions. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? You start asking, what can I learn from this? Instead of asking, what if I fail? You start asking, what will I become if I keep going? Your mind follows the questions you repeatedly ask, and the quality of your life is often determined by the quality of the questions you are willing to ask yourself. Every successful person you admire had moments where they could have stopped. They faced rejection. They faced doubt. They faced moments where the easier choice would have been to quit. But somewhere inside, they had a decision that was stronger than their fear. They decided their future was worth fighting for. And that decision gave them the power to continue when motivation disappeared. Because motivation is temporary. You will not always feel inspired. You will not always feel confident. There will be mornings when you don't feel like pushing forward. That is when your decision must carry you. Anyone can work hard when everything feels good. Anyone can chase a goal when they are excited. But true commitment is revealed when things become difficult. When you are tired, when progress feels slow, when nobody is watching. That is where champions are created. The person you become is built in those moments. Every small action you take is a vote for the person you want to become. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you strengthen your identity. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you build confidence. And confidence does not come from thinking about success. Confidence comes from proving to yourself that you can be trusted. You need to become the kind of person who does not need to be forced, the kind of person who takes action because your vision is stronger than your excuses. Success is not something that happens to you. It is something you create through the decisions you make every single day. So make the decision today. Decide that you will no longer live below your potential. Decide that your goals deserve your energy, your focus, and your commitment. Decide that you are done waiting for permission to become who you were meant to be. Because the moment you make success a must, your entire life begins to move in a new direction. Once you have made the decision that success is a must, the next battle begins inside your own mind. Because the truth is, your external world will always be a reflection of your internal world. Before you can build the life you want, you have to build the mindset that can create it. Your mind is the most powerful tool you will ever have. But just like any powerful tool, it can either build your future or destroy it. The thoughts you repeat, the beliefs you accept, and the focus you choose every day are shaping the person you are becoming. Most people underestimate the power of their focus. They allow their minds to run on autopilot. They wake up and immediately think about problems. They look at what is missing. They focus on what they cannot control. They replay their failures. They compare their journey to someone else's highlight reel, and then they wonder why they feel stuck. You cannot create an extraordinary life with an ordinary mindset. If you want extraordinary results, you have to train your mind to search for growth. You have to condition yourself to see possibilities where others see limitations. You have to develop the habit of asking, how can I improve? What can I learn? What action can I take right now? Because successful people are not successful because they never experience problems. They are successful because they have trained themselves to respond differently to problems. The same challenge can break one person and build another. The difference is not always the situation. The difference is the meaning they give to that situation. When something goes wrong, a weak mindset says, this is proof that I can't do it. A growth mindset says, this is a lesson. This is feedback. This is another step toward becoming better. Your brain believes what you repeatedly tell it. If you constantly tell yourself that you are not capable, that you are unlucky, that you are behind, eventually your actions will begin to match those beliefs. But when you start feeding your mind with possibility, confidence, discipline, and purpose, you begin to change your identity. You have to understand that every person who has achieved something remarkable first achieved in their mind. They saw themselves succeeding before the world could see it. They believed in a future that did not exist yet. They created a vision so powerful that their daily actions naturally moved them toward it. Your imagination is not just a place where you create dreams. It is where you create direction. The question is, what are you constantly imagining? Are you imagining yourself overcoming challenges? Are you seeing yourself becoming stronger, wiser, and more successful? Or are you constantly rehearsing fear, failure, and doubt? Because whatever you focus on expands. If you focus on problems all day, problems become bigger in your mind. If you focus on solutions, opportunities begin to appear. The world did not suddenly change. Your awareness changed. You started noticing what was always there. This is why your daily mental training matters. You must protect your mind the same way you protect anything valuable. Be careful what you allow into it. Be careful what voices you listen to. Be careful what ideas you repeat. The people around you, the conversations you have, and the information you consume all influence your beliefs. You cannot expect to think like a champion while constantly feeding your mind with negativity. Every day you have a choice. You can program your mind with fear, or you can program it with faith. You can focus on excuses, or you can focus on solutions. You can become a victim of your circumstances, or you can become the creator of your future. And understand this, training your mind does not mean you will never have negative thoughts. Every human being experiences doubt. Every person faces fear. The difference is that successful people do not allow those thoughts to become their identity. They acknowledge the fear and they move forward anyway. They feel uncertainty and they take action anyway. They experience setbacks and they keep growing anyway. That is what separates those who achieve from those who only dream. You must create a daily practice of strengthening your mind. Feed yourself with ideas that expand you. Spend time learning. Reflect on your progress. Challenge your old beliefs. Replace I can't with how can I. Replace this is too hard with this is making me stronger. Because the quality of your life is connected to the quality of your thinking. Your thoughts create your emotions. Your emotions influence your actions. Your actions create your results. And your results shape your future. So if you want a different future, begin with a different mind. The person who controls their focus controls their direction. Once you have trained your mind to focus on growth, the next step is where most people separate themselves from the crowd. Discipline and consistency. Because having a vision is powerful. Having a dream is inspiring. But without disciplined action, your dream remains nothing more than a thought. The truth is, success is not built in one big moment. It is created through the small decisions you make every single day. It is created when nobody is watching. It is created in the moments when you have every excuse to stop, but you choose to continue. A lot of people are addicted to the feeling of motivation. They wait for that perfect moment when they feel unstoppable. They wait for the perfect energy, the perfect opportunity, the perfect confidence. But successful people understand something different. Motivation is a spark, but discipline is the fire that keeps burning. You will not always feel inspired. You will not always wake up excited. There will be days when your goals feel far away. There will be days when the progress seems too slow. And those are the moments that reveal who you really are. Because anyone can take action when everything is easy. Anyone can work when they feel confident. Anyone can chase a dream when the path is clear. But the person who develops discipline learns how to move forward even when the emotions are not there. That is where power is created. You have to become someone who keeps promises to yourself. Because every time you say you are going to do something and you follow through, you build trust with yourself. Every workout you complete, every page you read, every difficult conversation you face, every task you finish when you could have avoided it, you are proving to yourself that you are capable. And that confidence is not created by repeating positive words in your mind. Real confidence is created through evidence. You become confident because you have shown yourself that you can handle challenges. Your habits are shaping your future before you even realize it. The life you have today is largely the result of the actions you repeated yesterday, and the life you will have tomorrow will be created by what you consistently do today. Small actions seem insignificant in the moment. One day of discipline may not change your life. 1 hour of focus may not create a breakthrough. One decision may not instantly transform your situation, but repeated over time, those small actions become unstoppable. A person who improves by 1% every day becomes a completely different person over time. The difference between where you are and where you want to be is often not one giant move. It is the collection of small choices you make consistently. The problem is, many people underestimate the power of consistency because they are looking for immediate results. They plant a seed today and expect a tree tomorrow. When they do not see instant success, they quit. But greatness requires patience. The strongest people are willing to work without applause. They are willing to build when nobody notices. They understand that success is often invisible before it becomes obvious. There is a season where you are learning, building, improving, and struggling. People may not understand your journey. They may not see your effort. They may not recognize the sacrifices you are making, but that does not matter. The question is not, is everyone watching? The question is, am I becoming better? Because the person you become is more important than the reward you receive. Discipline is not about punishing yourself. It is about respecting your future enough to make choices today that your future self will thank you for. It is about understanding that every action has a consequence. When you choose comfort every day, you create a life built around comfort. When you choose growth every day, you create a life built around possibility. And the amazing thing about discipline is that it gets easier the more you practice it. At first, you have to force yourself. You have to fight against old habits. You have to push through resistance. Eventually, discipline becomes part of who you are. You no longer have to ask yourself whether you will take action. You simply do it. You become the kind of person who shows up. You become the kind of person who finishes what they start. You become the kind of person who does not need perfect conditions to move forward. That is the level of commitment required to achieve something extraordinary. Remember, your biggest breakthroughs will not come from what you do once in a while. They will come from what you do repeatedly until it becomes who you are. Because success belongs to the person who can stay committed long after the excitement disappears. The journey toward success will never be a straight path. There will be moments when you feel unstoppable, and there will be moments when everything seems to be working against you. But the people who reach the highest levels of achievement are not the ones who avoid challenges. They are the ones who learn how to transform challenges into strength. You have to understand that every obstacle in your life is carrying a message. Every failure has a lesson. Every setback has an opportunity hidden inside it. The difference between someone who gives up and someone who rises is the meaning they choose to attach to what happens. Most people see failure as a final destination. They experience rejection, disappointment, or a mistake, and they immediately decide that it means they are not good enough. They let one moment define their entire identity, but one failure does not define you. One mistake does not define you. One difficult season does not determine your future. The only thing that determines your future is what you choose to do next. Think about every successful person who has created something meaningful. Every single one of them faced moments where they could have stopped. They faced doubt. They faced criticism. They faced times when their vision seemed impossible, but they developed the ability to turn pain into power. You have to learn that your struggles are not just things happening to you. They are things shaping you. The pressure you experience today may be creating the strength you need for tomorrow. A diamond does not become valuable because it experiences comfort. It becomes valuable because it survives pressure. And in the same way, you discover your own strength when you are tested. The moments that challenge you are often the moments that reveal you. When life pushes against you, you have a choice. You can ask, why is this happening to me? Or you can ask, how is this making me stronger? That single change in perspective can transform your entire life, because your mind is always looking for evidence to support whatever you believe. If you believe obstacles are signs to quit, you will find reasons to stop. If you believe obstacles are opportunities to grow, you will find ways to move forward. The most powerful people are not people who never feel fear. They are people who refuse to let fear make their decisions. Fear will always try to protect you from uncertainty. It will tell you to stay where you are. It will remind you of every possible thing that could go wrong. But if you allow fear to control you, you will never discover what you are truly capable of. You must become comfortable with being uncomfortable, because growth only happens when you step beyond what you already know. The person you are today was created by the challenges you survived. Every difficult moment taught you something. Every disappointment forced you to become stronger. Every time you thought you could not continue but somehow found the strength to keep going, you built a new level of confidence. You are stronger than the moments that tried to break you. But strength does not come from pretending everything is easy. Strength comes from facing reality and choosing to rise anyway. Some people spend their entire lives waiting for a life without problems. They think success means reaching a place where nothing goes wrong. That is not reality. Success means becoming the kind of person who can handle whatever comes your way. It means developing the courage, discipline, and mindset to keep moving forward even when the road gets difficult. Your greatest victories often come after your greatest tests. The moments that feel like the end are sometimes the moments preparing you for your next level. A setback can become a setup. A rejection can become redirection. A failure can become the foundation of your future success. But only if you decide to learn from it. You cannot change the past, but you can change the meaning you give to it. You can take every painful experience and use it as fuel. You can take every disappointment and turn it into determination. The question is not whether you will face challenges. You will. The question is who you will become when they arrive. Will you become someone who breaks under pressure, or will you become someone who rises because of it? Your future does not belong to the person who has the easiest journey. Your future belongs to the person who refuses to stop growing. Because the strongest people are not created by easy roads. They are created by the battles they choose to overcome. Success is never created in isolation. You can have the strongest mindset, the biggest vision, and the most powerful discipline, but you must understand one thing. The environment around you has a tremendous influence on the person you become. The people you spend time with, the conversations you listen to, the information you consume, and the energy you allow into your life are constantly shaping your beliefs. Whether you realize it or not, you are always being influenced. The question is not whether you are influenced. The question is, are you choosing what influences you? Because if you are not intentional about your environment, the world will choose it for you. Many people have dreams that are bigger than their surroundings. They want to grow, they want to achieve, they want to become better, but they stay connected to people who constantly tell them why it cannot be done. They spend hours consuming negativity, criticism, and distractions, then wonder why their confidence disappears. You cannot build a powerful future while surrounding yourself with constant reminders of limitation. Your environment is like a garden. Whatever you consistently plant and water will grow. If you plant belief, discipline, and ambition, those qualities become stronger. If you plant doubt, fear, and excuses, those will grow too. This does not mean you need to remove every person from your life who does not think exactly like. It means you must become aware of what energy you are allowing to influence your identity. There is a difference between someone who challenges you to grow and someone who convinces you to stay small. You need people around you who see more in you than you currently see in yourself. People who encourage you to raise your standards. People who remind you of your potential when life gets difficult. Because sometimes the person you become is a reflection of the conversations you have every day. If you constantly surround yourself with people who complain, eventually complaining feels normal. If you surround yourself with people who take action, improve themselves, and pursue excellence, that becomes normal too. Human beings naturally adapt to their surroundings. We adjust to the standards around us. We start accepting what we repeatedly see. That is why you have to be intentional about the world you create around yourself. Look at the people who achieve extraordinary things. They study people who inspire them. They learn from those who have already walked the path. They place themselves in environments that challenge them to become better. They understand that growth requires exposure to new ideas. You cannot think bigger if you only listen to voices that encourage you to think smaller. You cannot create a different life while constantly repeating the same patterns. Sometimes the biggest change you can make is not working harder. Sometimes it is changing what surrounds you. Change the books you read. Change the conversations you participate in. Change the content you consume. Change the questions you ask. Because every piece of information you take in is either strengthening your vision or weakening it. Your mind is constantly being programmed. Every day, you are receiving messages about who you are, what you can achieve, and what is possible for your life. The world will always try to tell you what your limits are. Your job is to decide whether those limits are real. The people who become obsessed with success understand that they must protect their focus. They do not waste their energy proving themselves to everyone. They invest that energy into becoming better. They know that not everyone will understand their journey. Not everyone will support their goals. Not everyone will believe in their vision. And that is okay. You do not need everyone to believe in your dream. You need to believe enough to keep working for it. But you also have to be careful not to let negative voices become louder than your own purpose. There will always be someone who says you cannot. There will always be someone who doubts you. There will always be someone who sees the obstacles, but not the possibility. But the question is, whose voice will you allow to guide you? The voice of fear or the voice of your potential? Successful people create environments that make success easier. They surround themselves with reminders of what they are building. They keep their goals visible. They spend time around people who challenge their thinking. Because your environment does not just affect what you do. It affects what you believe you are capable of doing. And once you change what you believe is possible, your actions begin to change. You start moving differently. You start thinking differently. You start becoming someone different. The right environment does not create success for you, but it creates the conditions where success can grow. Choose carefully what you allow around you, because the world you build inside yourself begins with the world you allow around you. Now you have to understand the final piece of the journey. Success requires a vision that is so powerful and a commitment so strong that it moves you into action every single day. Because a dream without action is only a fantasy. A goal without movement is only a wish. You can have the greatest ideas in the world. You can have unlimited potential. You can believe in yourself. But nothing changes until you take action. The world does not reward intentions. It rewards execution. The people who achieve extraordinary things are not people who have no fear. They are people who have a vision that is stronger than their fear. They see something ahead of them that is so meaningful, so important, so powerful, that staying the same becomes more painful than changing. That is where transformation begins. You have to create a vision that pulls you forward. Not a small vision that you can easily achieve and forget. A vision that challenges you. A vision that forces you to grow into a bigger version of yourself. Because your goals are not just about what you get. They are about who you become while pursuing them. A weak goal says, I want success because I want the reward. A powerful vision says, I want success because I know the person I will become through the process. The journey is where your character is built. Every time you take action despite uncertainty, you become stronger. Every time you push beyond your comfort zone, you expand your capabilities. Every time you refuse to quit, you prove to yourself that you are capable of more than you imagined. You have to stop waiting until you feel ready. Most people are waiting for confidence before they act. But confidence is not something you find before taking action. Confidence is something you create through action. You take the step. You learn. You adjust. You improve. And eventually you look back and realize you became someone completely different. The greatest achievements in life rarely come from one perfect decision. They come from thousands of imperfect actions repeated over time. The person who succeeds is not always the one who knows the most. It is often the one who is willing to learn the fastest and keep moving. Because action creates momentum, and momentum changes everything. When you begin moving toward your goals, your energy changes, your confidence changes, your belief in yourself changes. You start seeing opportunities that you could not see before because your mind is now focused on progress. But remember, action without direction creates chaos. You need massive action, but you need purposeful action. You need to know what you are building. You need to know why it matters. Because your why is what keeps you moving when the excitement disappears. Anyone can work hard for a short period of time, but the people who create lasting success have a reason that is bigger than temporary discomfort. They know why they started. They know what they are fighting for. They know what kind of life they are creating. When your vision becomes clear enough, distractions become easier to ignore. When you know where you are going, you stop being controlled by every little obstacle in your path. You become focused. You become intentional. You become unstoppable. But there is something else you must understand. You cannot wait for someone else to believe in your vision before you pursue it. Sometimes you will have to walk alone for a while. Sometimes you will have to build without recognition. Sometimes you will have to keep going while others question your choices. That is part of becoming successful. Your dream does not need approval from everyone. It needs commitment from you. You have already learned that success requires a decision. It requires a trained mind. It requires discipline. It requires turning challenges into fuel. It requires creating an environment that supports growth. But all of those things become powerful when you take action. A decision without action is only a thought. A mindset without action is only potential. A vision without action remains invisible. The future you desire is waiting for the person you are willing to become. So every morning, ask yourself one powerful question. What can I do today that moves me closer to the person I want to be? Not next year, not someday, today. Because every day you delay, you are choosing to stay where you are. But every day you act, you are creating a new version of yourself. You do not need to have everything figured out. You do not need to know every step. You simply need enough courage to take the next one. The path becomes clearer as you move. The strength comes as you challenge yourself. The confidence comes as you prove to yourself that you can. Your obsession with success is not about chasing a destination.